Hi, Jim here, and you're listening to the Honest Filmmaker podcast, career advice from people in the business. This week, I spoke to special effects makeup artist Jon Moore. It was difficult for me not to geek out on this one, as Jon's worked on MCU movies like Captain America the First Avenger, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, and all of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, as one of the team that makes up Dave Bautista as Drax. Jon's also worked on The Witcher, Doctor Who, Red Dwarf, Game of Thrones. Check out his IMDB profile and you'll see the biggest shows of the past 10 years. This is a great one if you're interested in getting into special effects, if you want to find out how Jon got into the industry and needs advice to help you do the same. And it's also a fascinating look behind the scenes at some of Marvel's biggest hits. Enjoy. What was your first proper job, so to speak? What was the first time you were on a set and what was that like?
I first proper job. I did a film called Evil Aliens.
Jake West, yeah.
Jake West, yes. So there's a bunch of us. I worked for a company called Life Creations, and Tim Berry, Tristan Verslaus, another guy, David Bradley, where the four of us moved down from the north, moved to High Wycombe, and then we set up a workshop. That was the first real kind of introduction to a film set. So that was kind of a lower budget horror film. It was good fun. It was good fun, but it was kind of in at the deep end. So, and then from then I worked at Millennium Effects, and I got involved with the Doctor Who from Christopher Eccleston days. So I was there for years. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on there. Before that, it was all smaller, lower budget indie stuff. So we'll pay you when we make some money, that kind of thing.
Yes. So would you advise people do a bit of that first to get a bit of experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I was on a website called Shooting People back in the day. I don't even know if that exists now.
It does, yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, does it? Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of freebies, yeah, low pay, no pay kind of stuff. It gives you a good grounding on how to work with people, how to interact with people, how to talk to the actors and the ADs and everything. So I found for me it was a good basis and a good structure for me just to kind of then expand upon.
And so obviously I've done a lot of social media or IMDb stalking on you to prepare for this. When it says on your IMDb page freelancer,
yes,
but obviously you've done a number of Marvel movies. Are you still a freelancer? Do you get hired? You're on the Drax squad, so is that a thing that you're automatically on? How's that all work, the freelancing?
No, we're pretty much freelance as we go. We just kind of get hired in by different effects houses, but we're still, I mean, we can get put on contract depending on the length of the project, but then we'll be contracted to the studios and then the studios will pay. But if it's something like daily work, then we'll just get brought in by the effects people and then we'll invoice them and then they pay us directly.
And just so new people new to understand it, and also to sort of head off that feeling that people who know people are the only people who get the jobs. Is that true? Would you only ever get jobs via people you've already made contact with, or have you ever applied for a job, so to speak, in this particular industry?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing this 25 years now, so I kind of know the majority of the effects houses in the UK. So you build up a rapport with them, definitely. But originally, yeah, when I moved down, I was sending CVs out left, right, and centre to people because, yeah, it is quite a closed shop. I'm hoping that more trainees are getting taken on now, and it opens out a little bit more. That's kind of what I'm trying to push for. Especially now we're all getting older and we need to bring some new fresh blood in, but I think it's tricky to find the people to get to kind of send your stuff off to, but I think there's enough out there of us on social media. I like to think we're approachable, and I always, whenever I do a talk or something with a uni, I'll say, look, I'm happy for you just to get in touch with any questions. No matter what it is, if I can help, I will. The majority of us are the same, to be honest.
So what would be your advice to somebody? So get yourself on a bunch of low, no budget things to get some experience, build up a bit of a portfolio, try and get a traineeship. Are there any other avenues, like contact people like you? I don't want to get you with a deluge of emails trying to get work out of you, but what else could they do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I get a good folio together. I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be dozens of pictures. I think if there's several good pictures showing a range of work, uh, showing, I don't know, a realism like sculpture. We don't really just want to see a final makeup. If we could see a behind the scenes and the workshop stuff that's gone into it, the sculpting, the molding, the coloring, any research you've done, all those pictures are really good because it gives us an idea, or if you're useful in different areas as well. So put together like several pictures, either digitally or physical folio, and just send them off to different companies and just say, are there any openings for like trainee positions or workshop positions or something? Just sometimes you might not get them at a good time, but just follow it up a couple of weeks later. Just keep in touch with them. I don't think anyone's going to be really annoyed if you kind of want to get in the work and you're showing that like a positive kind of attitude to try to get work.
Yeah. And are there any, how do you stay up to date with all the latest makeup equipment and all that kind of stuff? Does that happen on set, or is there something people need to subscribe to, or some sort of resource to sort of keep up to date with all of that stuff?
I find a good crowd room is good for that. Crowd makeup, when there's like, I don't know, 50 or 60 of us, we're always looking at products, see what everyone else is using at the time.
Yeah.
Or just going to like the makeup shops. There are so many out there specialized in what we do, and just seeing what the materials are. So yeah, it is a constantly moving kind of technology, especially with things like 3D printing these days and 3D design as well for the workshops. It's constantly evolving at such a pace.
And so I'm going to move on to Marvel now, I'm afraid. You're going to get sick of these questions. So you're part of the team that does Drax.
Yes.
So how does that work practically? Do you do an arm? Do you do everything? Are you all working on him at the same time? How does that work?
We just figured out a little dance really. We were allocated certain bits. I mean, there's a difference in the application method between Guardians 1 for David White, altered states effects, and then when it went to the States, it was Legacy. So there was a change in the technique, so we kind of altered how we kind of approached it. But if I take the first one, there were four of us doing the actual makeup, and we would just kind of maybe two of us would tackle an arm, two of us would tackle the other arm. There were bits where we all jumped on, maybe just to apply the chest because it's such a big piece, and then I would jump on and do the face pieces, that kind of thing. But you work out a nice little choreography the more times you do it.
And in that first Guardians of the Galaxy, was that the first Marvel film you'd done?
No, I did Captain America, first Avenger.
Yeah.
So I was looking after Stunt Red Skull,
right,
and also Leander Deeney, who played Skinny Steve. Yeah, so he had some make prosthetics just to augment his face a little to make it slightly more in line with Chris Evans.
Yeah. And so looking at Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, so obviously back then this whole machine was sort of building up, and those characters weren't as well known as they are now. And also no one really had a sense of what that film was going to be like. It kind of came out of nowhere, and it was really funny and original. Did you know that when you were on set, or because obviously, did you even know Drax was? I mean, I know you like your comic books, but were you aware of that character?
I was aware of. I don't think I'd ever actually bought a Guardians comic book, but I was aware of them. But I read up. Once I got the job, just to kind of get an idea on all the different characters.
Did you know? Well, I guess the question there is how much of that script do you see, or are you sort of kept separate with the design and the makeup? Do you get to read the script, or how's that work?
I mean, it depends on the project. Did we see the script? The first one. I think we saw we had the call sheets for the first one, so we saw what was happening that day, and then other people in the department were looking at the actual script and the breakdown of the schedules, so they could kind of relay information that way. Guardians 2 and 3, we got to read the scripts, so we had a better idea of what the whole story was. We get the information through different ways.
But. Yeah, that must have been cool, getting to read those scripts like a year and a half in advance of everyone seeing the movie.
Yes, yeah. The third one was the third one. I can't remember if it was second or third, but it was a tighter, more secure environment to read the script. You couldn't take it away. But I did get to see what all the music was early.
Oh, really?
Cool. So I was kind of playing the soundtracks myself way before they were released.
Way before it came out. So then that brings me on to NDAs, not revealing anything from a project. Well, because a lot of people I speak to are, I've just done this amazing thing, but I can't really tell you anything about it. Is that just something that's kind of ingrained in the system and everybody knows not to break that? Or are there stories of people who have and just don't get used again?
Yeah, everybody should know not to break it.
Yeah.
Especially, regardless of the size of the production, but especially when you're working with something big like Disney. So yeah, but there are cases of people who have taken pictures and put them online, and there was something just recently on the show. I can't remember what it was. I was talking to someone the other day who said someone had taken a picture of the monitor to see what was being filmed and then posted it online. So clearly one of the crew.
Yeah.
Everybody on that crew has been working long enough to know the implications of doing such a thing, especially especially whatever the project was. But yeah,
that's tough. That is
common
tough.
sense.
Yeah, common sense. It must. I imagine it's when you're first starting out. It's probably super tempting to take a picture because you kind of feel, oh, wow, I'm on this big set. I want to show people what I'm up to. But you've got to take those things seriously.
Yeah, and also fear of losing work, of
never
working
exactly.
again.
Yeah, in the future.
But they tend to give out badges to people these days who could take photos.
Oh,
so
really?
If you don't have that badge, then for continuity,
so
that kind of
they're
thing.
doing it. Yeah.
But just for continuity purposes. So.
Yeah. And with something like Drax, do you? How does it work? Do you get to practice that look many times before you start shooting, or how much lead-in time do you get before you actually start filming?
Yeah, there was on the first one. There were lots of test makeups just to establish the color and the actual design as well. I think I'm correct in saying that David decided to break up the sculpt for Drax into lots of pieces. So if anything wanted changing, you could take that section and resculpt it and remold it rather than having to do the whole thing, which made complete sense. So there were lots of test makeups with Dave, just to get the color right and the look right, screen tests and everything for the director.
And with that, because his is like a big all over, up close and personal. Any tips for being in someone's space? Getting close and personal with an actor.
Read the room, absolutely. I know it can be sometimes a bit of a daunting experience depending on the size of the project, who you're working with. Read the room. If they're chatty and they want to chat, then fine, go with it. But sometimes they'll want to be a little bit insular if they're getting into a role, or it might be an early morning that they're just too tired to want to have to chat. Just in that case, you just get on with it and you just do it. Obviously, you check in with them to make sure they're okay if they need anything. But sometimes, it can be like a 4 or 5 hour makeup, so it's quite intense. So just keep an eye on the actor. Don't forget that you've got a person in that chair. Sometimes you can get a little bit carried away with flicking alcohol around to the colors and everything, or that kind of thing. But just keep an awareness about you, I suppose.
Yeah. And also, I imagine your days are pretty long on something like that. So you're starting super early, and then you're the last people there taking makeup off.
Yeah. I mean, it's not uncommon to have a 2:30 alarm or something like that. And then we've been doing 18-hour days sometimes. That's not the norm, but when you're doing a huge makeup and then you've got 11 hours of filming, and then you've got another hour of de-rig and tidy, so it soon adds up into quite an extensive day.
And with those Marvel movies, do you get to actually be on set much, or are you in a caravan kind of miles away? How's that work?
No, for things like Guardians, if you're looking after an actor, you tend to do the makeup and then you'll be there on set with
Oh,
them.
right, okay.
Just constant checks just to make sure everything, the color's okay, nothing's kind of peeling or something like that. And again, I like just to make sure that the actor's okay. Just have a water bottle, have straws, have something with you. Just that helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes there's so much going on. You get to know someone, especially if you're working with them for months. You can kind of see if they're getting a little angsty or hungry or something.
Yeah.
You can kind of read them. So
Yeah. And so you sort of lucked out with that character, didn't you? Because he's been in some of like all of the big movies, and it's not like a small effect that they just call one person in to do. It's like a full. You need the team. You need the Drax team. You want it to look awesome.
yeah.
Did you get so the big Avengers Endgame scene, that them all running at the baddies? Were you there
Mhm.
for that? Who else was there? Were all the characters there? Because it's you see very sort of rare behind the scenes shots, and it's hard to tell who is actually there and who's not there.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So yeah, for the first one, there were the four of us, and it was all London based. And then when
Mm.
it moved to Atlanta, um, I thought that's it. Another team will take on the makeup. But Dave's team got in touch with myself and another guy, Robin Pritchard, and asked if we still wanted to be part of the team, which took about half a second to think about. Um, and because that was 6 months in Atlanta and then 8 months in Atlanta. Every time Dave was Drax, we were
Mm.
there,
Mm.
so doing the makeup. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes you'll just get like a core group of people, and then they'll film sections, different people in different groups, and then they'll just composite them together, just for the big shots of everybody running, that kind of thing.
Mm. Mm.
So,
And that particular scene, did you see him filming that, or was there too many people on set? 'Cause it looks like there was tons of people.
oh no, we were there, kind of watching. So, me and Robin would usually take it in turns, kind of like one watching the monitor to see how it looks, one
Mm.
near the set, just to see if we could see anything that way. So we'd switch around. But yeah, we were there for all the filming stuff.
And do you ever what's the line between you getting excited about what's happening and you concentrating on your job? Are you so focused that you don't really take it until afterwards, or are you, is a part of you going, this is pretty good?
You've seen the stuff I got behind me, yeah. It's like, um, I'm a huge comic book nerd, so I always have been. So to kind of get a Marvel movie is kind of it's great for me. But I mean, yeah, you do appreciate everything, when Iron Man walks in or something like that. It's all pretty cool. But there's a definite professionalism that you kind of step into it, I suppose. You're
Mm.
looking after your guy, but there's still that kind of moment of like,
Got to
everyone's the
suppress
same.
it,
Yeah,
suppress the inner nerd
yeah, yeah.
who's really freaking out. um so then I was going to talk about, so I will come back to Marvel, I'm bound to, but so then you got to do later on in your career, you got to do Wurzel Gummidge, which I believe you've got a much sort of bigger role on. Are you like head of that or design that? How's that work?
No, that two different companies designed it for the different series.
Mm.
But it was my kind of myself. There were two people per application for that
Yeah.
for that makeup. So I was working with Mackenzie, who's super cool, very quirky. I love him. Yeah. Because he obviously wrote everything as well, so
Mm.
he was completely invested with that. But no, I didn't do any of the designing. I was just brought in just to apply the makeup.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, no, it's an amazing seeing him in that. It's kind of a step on from the John Pertwee
Yeah,
look.
yeah. I mean, I love the look. So yeah,
Mm.
the first series it was me and Jodie, and then it was me and Sophie. But it was I loved it. I thought it was really cool, quite
Mm.
quirky. It did have a bit of negative press about the look. I know that, but I thought it worked really well.
Yeah, yeah, no, look cool. Um, Also, I noticed a couple of posts you posted about Beck 2 and the union, being in a union. What would be your advice? Should somebody join a union? Should they wait till they've done a bit of paid work? And what do you get out of that union?
I mean, truthfully, our unions aren't as powerful as A, they used to be, or B, as the American unions. They
Mm.
do have the strength there. We're trying to get more numbers. The recent postings were to try and just get a uniform rate card. All the departments have rate cards that they can take to productions just to say, well, this is this size of movie, then this is the daily rate for someone of my level. Prosthetics have never had that, so we're trying to bring that in now. So hopefully that'll be done soon. I kind of joined that a little bit late, so everyone else has been working feverishly to get that in place. I would say yes, join the union. There are good offers on with Beck 2. It's kind of you pay kind of on a sliding scale, however much you earn. So if you're just starting out, it's very cheap for you to join, and you get to call them whenever you need and get advice from them. You get kind of insurance with them, legal advice, that kind of thing. And there are other little perks to it, but I think the more people get involved, the stronger that union becomes. So it's just encouraging people to do it, because at the minute there's a lot of like, well, what do I get? I'm just going to give you money for nothing. It's like, well,
Yeah.
the more people get involved, the stronger the voice.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout, because it's, I guess, when I look back on it, I've only ever considered it when there's been a problem, but it would be good to be part of something, like you say, that's got a lot more sway over the industry. So yeah, that's good advice. So apart from the technical and artistic skills you've got that you've learned over the years, or that a student might learn at university, what other sort of character traits do you need in your particular role, do you think?
I mean, hygiene is one of them. That's definite strong personal hygiene, which especially when you're working so close to people. For getting into the industry, have the ability to listen, observe, just pay attention to what's going on. It's very easy as well on set. They can be quite long days, and there can be a period where it's not really that busy. So you can get sidetracked by stuff, and guaranteed that will be the moment that your character is needed on set and something's falling off or needs adjustment, or they need something. So just be aware. Make sure your phone's switched off as well. You don't want to be that person on set when your phone rings in the middle of a take, that's for sure. But other traits, the ability to read a room, just be that friendly kind of face for the actor. That's who you're there for, to make sure they're comfortable.
And then another one, logistics on money. How's it work with you? Do you get paid monthly? Is it like you say, do you always invoice? Do you get a big cash money up front when you go into a huge job? How's that work?
No, we invoice. Big productions, like workshops, will invoice. Some of them pay hourly, some of them pay daily. So you'll invoice weekly, or I invoice weekly. The bigger productions, they will you put your hours in, and the accounts work it out and pay you. If you're VAT registered, you'll need to invoice. So I use accounting software. I've got an accountant as well, but I do all the invoicing, send all the receipts. So it's all a very kind of labor intensive job, really. It's the downside, but.
And what about kit and equipment? Have you got all your own gear? Would you advise someone to go off and buy a kit? How's that work?
We've all got our own gear. A lot of the bigger workshops, you work for some who you go and do a crowd room and you're doing the makeup, and they will provide you with everything you need apart from brushes and the colours. So sometimes you even get the colours thrown in as well. So it depends on, you get to know what each workshop will give you. But yeah, always have your own kit. I mean, my kit is just expanded from that one little box I thought I needed when I just started out. I have everything I need. Cut to boxes and boxes and boxes of everything. Just,
Yes.
One of these days I'll get around to organising it.
Yes. And do you with that kit and equipment? So I'm thinking, if you're working on a micro budget, low budget movie, do you think you should be asking for money to contribute towards that? Or do you think there's an expectation that, I'm thinking of the freebie stuff. I'm thinking, you're turning up for this thing, you're not getting paid. Should you at least be asking for some money to put towards your makeup kit?
Yeah, I don't think you should really be out of pocket, and I don't think people should expect you to be out of pocket.
Mm.
I think even if it covers your travel, your meals, your equipment, any materials you're using, that kind of thing, they should cover the bare minimum. If you go into something, they should make it very clear that you're not going to get that, and it's your choice. You know, if it's something you really want to do, you like it, then fine, you make that decision. But I would recommend people never be out of pocket.
So you got to meet Stanley. Damn you! What was that like? How did it happen? Did you get much of a chance to speak to him?
Yeah, a little chat actually. So Katie, the second AD, knew I was a bit of a kind of a nerd. So I think that was the same year I met Kurt Russell as well, which it was just like two icons. But we knew Stan Lee was coming, but this was 2016, and he'd filmed 4 little cameos. And he was really tired, and I was told he was just going to go straight from filming. But I kind of saw him walking towards his car with his PA, and I just thought, well, it's now or never. So I just went up and had a word with his PA, and then he had a word with Stan, and then Stan was like, yeah, fine. So I just had a little chat, and he was sat in the car, and he just as I left, he was like, well, good luck to you. A little handshake photo. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm happy. That's it. The little kid in me now is yeah, just ticked
nice.
off that box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's nice that interaction went well, because
yes,
it's awful when that interact. So I remember I went to the Cannes Film Festival once, and it was just because I'm a massive Star Wars nerd as well, just before Attack of the Clones came out, and I saw Hayden Christensen before he was, he'd only just been announced, and only people who were into Star Wars probably would have seen his face before. And I think he was obviously new to being hounded, and probably new to interactions with fans. And I went up. He was at an elevator with his assistant or someone who was shepherding him around. And I was said to my wife, I was like, oh my God, it's him from Star Wars. None of them knew who he was. Who? What? I was like, he's from Attack of the Clones. He's going to be Darth Vader. Went up, said, oh, hi, have you got time for a photo? And he sort of looked at me and looked at the assistant. The assistant went, no, I'm sorry, we're really busy. And then we both waited for the elevator to arrive for another like minute and a half. And it was just, I just wanted to crawl into a hole.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like,
that's awkward. Oh, no.
Yeah, so, and it wasn't him at all. I think he was new to it all, and was obviously in this part of this machine and being told where to stand and what to do. But yeah, that was embarrassing. But yeah, getting to meet Stan Lee, that's amazing.
That was the highlight of my life. Never mind my career.
And do you have a motto yourself? I always ask people this. Is there sort of a saying you use for work?
It's more of a bit of advice as well that I give to myself, but you could apply this to general life. It's just, don't be a dick, basically. Nobody likes that kind of person. Just treat people how you would expect or want people to treat you. Nobody's different. No matter what they're doing in the crew, I don't care if they're kind of cleaning or they're the director or whatever in between. Nobody's different. Everyone deserves that same level of respect that you would want. So yeah, don't be a dick. Simple as that.
It's good advice. That no one likes a dick, and also you don't know, that crew member might end up being a massive director one day that you want to. Not saying don't be a dick for those sorts of reasons only, but it doesn't hurt, does it, to be everybody?
No, absolutely
nice to everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, totally.
I guess the one I was going to ask you, but I guess if you've not come out of uni, so this would be a hard one for you to answer. Maybe based on new people to the industry, is there anything you think they're not learning, or that's kind of a missing ingredient when you meet people who are new?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how it works if they get kind of work placement these days. If they get to visit a set to see how it works, just to see the kind of the hierarchy or the protocols, how to be in that environment. Because yeah, you can learn all the skills in the workshop. That's fine. You have to sculpt and mold and apply the makeups, and so you get to know all that. But if you've never stepped foot on a set before, especially a bigger production, it's quite a daunting affair. And then you've got to figure out, you know, what the first AD does, what the second AD does, what about the third, and you know, the crowd ADs. Never mind, you know, who do you talk to? Where's your place in that? Do you? Yeah, it's you know, that just comes through practice. But maybe there needs to be some kind of, I don't know, how would it work? If you can just get like a daily little visit to a set or something, or just having people coming in to talk. I don't know how it all works, but
And is there a standard hierarchy for you? So are you just reporting? Listen to me, businessman. Are you just communicating through like a lead makeup person, or who do you sort of have your main interactions with on set, apart from your
that
actor?
depends on what you're doing. So for Rings of Power, for example, we were in a big crowd room doing lots of makeups, and then there were supervisors. So we wouldn't necessarily go up to the first AD directly because there were like so many of us on set, and then we would kind of answer to other people who would then kind of feed that information down. But then for things like Guardians, then because we're directly linked with, you know, a number on the call sheet, one of the main guys, then we're dealing more directly with the first AD or chatting with the director as well. So it depends what you're working on.
I guess one other thing would be, you get up close and personal people. You talked a little bit about reading the room. Have you ever had to deal with, obviously you don't have to name the person, but have you ever had to deal with someone difficult, and have you got any advice for that if you're applying makeup to someone who's in a foul mood and just not interested?
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a specialized thing what we do. So some people love it, some people hate it, some people tolerate it, and again, like I say, some people could just be in a bad mood, which happens. You know, you just have to. You definitely can't rise to it, because it's nothing personal. It's not directed at you. It's a situation. Just remember that, and I think if you can get that in your mind, that it's not a personal attack on you, even if they're calling you names, and you know, I don't think I've ever had that. There's been one actor who's had a difficult day, but you just kind of just help if you can give them what they want, and then it seems to kind of pacify the situation. So just be the calm, like the calm aspect of the calm person in the room, and just try and just give them what they want, basically, within reason. You know, it's.
Well, you know what? It reminds me that on a lot of micro budget stuff, you guys can end up setting the tone for the whole production because you're the first place the actor goes. So if that experience is bad, that can set the tone for the rest of the day. You know, and what goes on in that makeup trailer. Like I say, if things are going well and it's got a positive vibe to it, they'll come out of there skipping. If it's not, they might walk onto your set already in a bad mood. So it's quite a powerful position.
Yeah. I think it's a safe space in there for the actor. They know that in that door, in that room, then they basically can chat to you about anything.
Is it? So is it a case of what's said in that trailer stays in the trailer?
Yeah, really. I think so. Yeah. Sometimes it feels a bit like a therapy room.
Yes.
Or for us as well. Sometimes, you know, we could kind of air grievances maybe, or sometimes, you know, because you do build up a bond, you know. So it's definitely yeah. Okay, so they said that's definitely not for outside knowledge.
Yes.
So yeah.
And obviously, I get the feeling now from Guardians 3, that's it for him for a while. So, or at least it's the end of that trilogy. What was that last day doing that makeup like for him and for you guys?
Oh, kind of strange. It's because we'd done it over 200 times all through, you know, Guardians and Thor and Avengers. Um, because I love Dave, you know, we've become kind of good friends. So it's knowing that we weren't going to spend as much time together after that. It's always, it's kind of an emotional thing. But I kept a diary from those movies
Oh,
because I
really?
knew, yeah, I knew it would all eventually merge into one, no matter how intense those emotions and feelings are and memories. So I can flip back through and say, oh yeah, I remember that day when that happened. So it's a good little look back
Need
at
to get
everything.
that published. I'd read it.
I don't know, can I? There might be some stuff, little little secrets in there. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. No, that sounds good. Okay, so what would be your top 3 tips for somebody starting out in makeup and SFX?
Be that person. I think I've said this before. Be that person who listens to everything, um, watch everything, take notes. Just be that, because there are a lot of courses out there now. A lot of people trying to get into the industry, and as huge as this industry is, there's a fight to get some of those roles because trainee positions aren't as many as there should be. Obviously, people are taking in what they can, but budgets being what they are as well.
Mm.
So yeah, try and stand out. Be that person who we know that we can trust to take our own initiative and see. When I say that, I'm not saying do stuff without checking. Make sure, make sure it's something we want doing, because there's nothing worse than someone's thinking, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that. And then,
Mm.
it's like it's not really what we needed. Um, ask questions, definitely. And if you're not sure about the answer, ask again. I would rather people ask me several times and be crystal clear than walk away thinking, I don't really know, but I don't really want to ask again.
Mm.
So, 3, be aware of the industry you're getting into. It's tough. It's long hours. It can be long hours. It can be draining. It's very hard to kind of sometimes plan your life because you don't know what schedules are constantly changing on things.
Mm.
So be prepared for this job to take a lot, but also be prepared for this job to give you a lot back. The friends that you meet on the way, the actors you work with, the locations you work at, and they are so good, and it gives you such a buzz. I mean, no matter what the size of the job, I'll walk away at the end of it always feeling a little bit lost,
Mm.
because you're bonded with people, over that period of time.
Thanks for listening. If you want all the behind the scenes information that's going to help you with a career in a creative industry, then please do subscribe.